Do you guys remember when we made the faux stained glass? We're gonna try it again, but better. The last time I did this, I used my CNC machine, which I don't have anymore, because I sold it. Or I could use my scroll saw, which I also don't have, because I sold it too. They say it's a poor craftsman who blames his tools, and I would agree with that, because I am a poor craftsman. Which is why we're cutting this out on the X tool. The last time I did this, I went right from this stage to the resin, and I kind of want to step it up a notch. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copper plate it, hoping that'll add a nice touch for the stained glass. This is conductive paint, and it is the first step for copper plating non-metallic objects. This paint dries pretty quickly. You want 2 or 3 light coats rather than one thick one. Okay, it looks like it's all dried. I've got good coverage. Oh wait! This is the piece from the intro. I gotta go do the intro or the continuity won't make sense. You guys remember, this is the normal setup that I use for copper plating. I'm guessing you'll be able to find the flaw in our method today. So here's the container that we use to make the Rebel Alliance clocks. It's not quite large enough. I went ahead and found an even larger Tupperware that I think should work. And the copper wire can't make contact with the object that you're going to coat. So let's just bend this around a little bit. All right, cool. So now we need some of this electroform solution. Copper sulfate, sulfuric acid, and distilled water. And that sounds like a job for gloves. And I don't think that's going to be enough. I have another gallon, and we're just gonna pour that in there. So now the object that we want to coat in copper, we need to attach a copper wire to it. And there we go, the copper wire should have good contact with the object. You should just be able to submerge this. Ah, but it floats. I've got these glass weights. Okay, that didn't do the trick. Maybe it's just, it's fine. No, okay, it's close. We're super close. This is gonna work. I can feel it. And now I'm gonna put the glass weights on, and they're definitely, absolutely, 100% gonna hold it under here. So those 4 glass weights shouldn't interfere with anything because they're not conductive. And now we have to electrocute Princess Peach. We just became the bad guy. Peaches, 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 I love you. That is good. We will leave this be, and I'll check in on this in a few hours to see how it looks. We're an hour in, and you can see here these bright bits. That's the part that's covered in copper, and here's what hasn't been. I went ahead and moved the wire over to a new area because it doesn't appear to be getting this last little bit. It's been a number of days since this was in here. Four days, which is the longest I've ever had anything in this process before. Not only do you have front, you've got back, and then you've got all these inside areas as well. What I wanted to show you was, I would call it like an overgrowth of copper, and I'm guessing that's just a side effect of it being in the bath for so long. I'm going to see if I can sand it down. It's funny, with the little Dremel, it was actually getting really hot. This was actually heating up a lot more, but with the larger drum, it's not heating up as much. For the next step, this needs to be completely flat. Since it was sitting in that liquid for so long, it actually does have a tiny bit of flex. It has been, I don't know, a week or so. I actually was at an event down in San Francisco called Open Sauce. It looks really cool. I mean, even just on a blue background, it looks really cool. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill all of these individual holes with resin. We're gonna need, oh, and I need to remember if it's like this or if it's like this. Is this gonna work? I don't know. I hope so. So I went back to check to see which way she was oriented, and I realized I probably should figure out how many colors we're actually gonna need. So I'm gonna call this yellow 1, and this is yellow 2. We'll call this pink 1, and I think, you know, we can do red 1, we'll call it white 1, and I think that's the same here with her face. That's a blue 3, looks like a couple of greens as well. Green 1, and green 2. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 colors. I'm going to be working with Total Boat high performance resin because I'm going to be using a small amount at a time, and having the pump is going to be great. And this resin seems to do pretty good outside of the pressure pot. It looks pretty well mixed. Now I'm going to be using these pigments. There's some mica in there, so they might have some shimmer. And then we'll do this sort of cobalt one. It's called Cobalt. You ever tried putting gloves on sweaty hands? It is ridiculous. Horrible. Please hold. And for these ones that are going to be a little bit difficult, I've got a pipette. Okay, that's not what we wanted. That's cool. Let's just get it started right off the bat. Now, if you've ever played, this is gonna take forever. Okay, sweet. I don't know if my nerves are gonna hold or not, but we're doing it, baby. We are doing it. So, I probably won't do more than one color at a time from now on, because these cups are already getting hot. Both of these cups of resin here, as you can see, I've poured maybe 10 or 12 cells, and we're already at 237 degrees Fahrenheit, which means I don't really have much working time left. So these are probably gonna cure here in a minute. Oh, look at that. That means going forward, I will use one pump at a time, and that will slow down the curing process and allow me to do more. The color might vary a little bit, but I think that's okay. It's still the same pigment, so it's still the same base color. It just might be more or less intense. picture's just shading weird. Time to mix up the sea green. Doing these individually is the way to do it, especially with just the volume of pouring that we're doing. All right, for my next trick, I'm going to try red. Yeah, that actually works. Whoa, Nelly. This stained glass is actually from Mario Odyssey, but it's a nod to the stained glass from Mario 64. But in Mario 64, that stained glass is actually just a circle. And so what they did for Mario Odyssey was they took that original stained glass and they sort of showed you what it would look like if it had been bigger. Yes, that was a little chaotic. I don't know that I would do that again. The resin definitely started overheating, so I would say I should have mixed up a brand new one. So, lesson learned, still do 1 cup at a time. Okay. All right, that is definitely the light green. Oh, look at that. I missed a red. That's funny. There we go. That didn't take long. That's supposed to be red. So, oopsie. It happens. I figured it was going to happen. I just didn't know it was going to happen that soon. And so now we need a little darker green, and I've already learned my lesson. That thing that I said I wouldn't do, I'm going to go ahead and do and put some darker pigment in this cup. That's green. Now that I know that I've already missed some, I can't imagine that I won't miss some more. That is looking pretty darn cool so far. For the princess's dress, we're going for more of a magenta than a pink, but I think it's the closest color match I've got to that color. Well, let's... That's perfect. Hopefully that blue background is what's messing us up, because that looks really purple, but I'm guessing that's just because of the blue background, because it doesn't look that purple on the stick. But hey, it's laid now. We can't pull that out. And so then we just need to lighten this color just a tiny bit. A couple drops of white. Put that in the other spots. And now that middle section is just a hair lighter than everything else. Got a couple more drops of white in here. I don't know what's happening with this purple. There's nothing I can do about it at this point. It didn't look purple until it went in there. And we're back to the mica powders. Thankfully, I have yellow in the mica powders. And this should be nice and shimmery. So it'll only be her dress which doesn't have the mica powder, which is fine, I think. Yellow. Yellow. I'm definitely getting a Smurfette vibe here. We are not going for Smurfette. Get your hands off her, Gargamel. We're going for Princess Peach. Papa Smurf! Start with the yellow, and then we're just going to add a pinch of orange, like that much. But you know when you mix your mustard and your ketchup together at McDonald's? That's the color we're going for. Or maybe like a honey mustard sauce. Yeah, that's exact. I mean, yeah. Yeah, that looks good. So white looks like the last one we've got. The more I look at it, I feel like the glove is really white and then her face is just a little off-white. Everything's got mica powder except for her dress, which has got some bubbles on it. Cool. No bubbles. That looks better. Okay. Where was I? White. White glove. I'm going to add a couple drops of her crown color into the white. I think that'll give me just a little off-white hue. Sweat is just pouring off me now, so I'm really having to be careful about not getting my face too close. Oh yeah, just the tiniest bit of warmth in that to add so you can differentiate between the glove and her skin tone. She does need a little more outside time. Actually, I can't tell a difference at all. We're going with it. It's the last pour, Peter. Get a move on. The first Mario game I think I ever completed was Mario 64. I played Super Mario Brothers as a kid, but I don't remember if I ever completed it. I know I completed Mario 64, and I know I completed Mario Sunshine. I watched my daughter complete Mario Odyssey. I played it a little bit, but... Okay. All right. Ha 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 ha. And before I did that, I went ahead and filled in these couple little red ones that I had left. I did that off camera. It's not that I don't care about you, but I'm gonna go inside where it's cooler. It seems this project is not willing to let me off, even when I thought I was done. It looks like stained glass. I mean, it looks like stained glass. I keep looking at it and I'm blown away by how good it came out. And the mica powders, the way you get the swirls to make that glass effect even more realistic. So even the back of it came out pretty good. I've got some close-ups of that. It definitely took a while to get all of that blue tape off of there. Maybe this wasn't fully cured yet when I tried to take that off. I probably just rushed it because I got excited. The back, you could add a chain to this, hang this in a window. It looks like stained glass. The copper effect helps, and I know that on stained glass you don't really see the copper very much because the flashing is then covered with lead, but I honestly think it looks really good with the copper. I don't know that I expected it to look this good. We ended up doing 13 colors total. That was a super stressful process, especially in the heat, but the resin performed amazingly. Once I decided to only do 1 cup at a time, and then I broke that rule like 2 or 3 times. The issue with the purple dress was simply the blue background. That was a terrifying moment though. When I poured that, if you could have seen my face, I was just like, oh no. Speaking of resin, I would like to thank Total Boat for sponsoring this video. Total Boat's high performance resin kicked butt yet again. The metered pump that I use is fantastic. Being able to pump out large or small amounts without having to measure both A and B makes a project go so much faster. Thank you again, Total Boat, for continuing to sponsor this channel. Follow the link down in the description for products used in this video. If someone didn't know what this was and they were just walk in and saw this, I think they would presume it was glass. Yeah, I think it's really cool. I want to do it again. Even with the hardships of yesterday's pour, I want to just do it again. I just want to make another one. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you want to follow along with me, click subscribe. I'm always making crazy things out of resin. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time.